Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. That was a quote by Gandhi. What does it mean to live well and to possess integrity? That's today's question. Integrity, in simple terms, is walking our talk. What should our talk actually be consisted of, and how should we actually walk it? Today we're going to be discussing integrity with Rochester, New York entertainment professional and founder of Encore Events, Mr. Richard Cranston, one of my very good friends. My name is Amanda Ashley, and this is Afternoon Cocktail episode 31. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Rich Cranston, cheers to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Cheers to you, and I'm drinking some fun water.
Yeah, I actually am too. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I mean, Rich, you and I have known each other. We go back to my waitressing days at TC Hooligans. I'll still never forget the night I waited on you. So
I'm
funny.
dying over here, by the way. Yeah,
Um,
it was a football night or something. I think it was on a Sunday. You had a Bills jersey on, and I
oh
remember
no,
that.
let's not lie about this. This was World Wrestling Night on Sundays. You were
Was it
coming from
really?
wrestling. Yeah, I believe so. I'm pretty
You had a
sure.
football jersey on.
Oh, maybe. Maybe
That's
I'm
awesome.
wrong. I thought it was wrestling night.
It could have
Um,
been. They did a
yeah.
lot, but yes, it was
Well,
wrestling
either
days.
way, I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen you, just climb up the ladder over the years. I mean, you're awesome. I'm so proud of you, and you've always been a man that's, really balanced a lot of different endeavors. Let's talk about you. So, could you give our audience a little bit of a background of who Rich Cranston is and a little bit about Encore Events?
Sure, of course. So I was born and raised in Webster. I got bitten by the music bug at an early age. I went off to college as a sports medicine major, and I really was enthralled by sports. I loved medicine, and I went to Mercyhurst College in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I hated it. I missed home. I wasn't making friends as fast as I thought I would. I'm a mama's boy. I own that, and I was missing home a lot. But I went to Mercyhurst was very big into hockey, and they were playing in this vast hockey arena. And as you as a business owner, we're all about trying to fill a void. And I walked in here, and it was cold, damp, dreary, and boring, and smelly. But there was no music, and I approached the rink manager. Long story short, and I said, "Hey, I have my BMG and Columbia House music collection, my CDs. Can I play some music by Jock Jams in between plays and stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can't pay you, but this is what that turned into." And every home game and practice and stuff, I would come with music, and I would the high, the rush that I got when I pressed play and I saw a reaction from the crowd down below I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to have more of that. But here I am, a freshman in college. I'm trying to, find my way as a sports medicine major. So, long story short, I didn't go back after Christmas vacation. Literally, I was only in college for a couple months. I came back to MCC, was taking a bunch of liberal arts classes. I've always wanted to be a police officer, so I had like that iron in the fire. I was taking police tests, and I was, trying to find out more about this music thing. And I'm going to college, and I got an internship at 98 PXY at a radio station. So I'm doing that. I'm just trying to find, throwing stuff at the wall to see what's stuck. So that was kind of mold things into like where I wanted to go. And it wasn't until I really started really loving the fact that being a mobile DJ was fun for me, and I want to try to figure that out. But it wasn't going to pay my bills, but it was going to satisfy my inner flame.
And Encore Events, I mean, tell us a little bit about this. So to me, you guys are top notch. I mean, obviously, I've had you,
Thank you.
at my own wedding, back in the day. So, I mean, You guys like really go above and beyond. Can you tell our audience what differentiates your business from your competition?
Sure. So you'll never hear me talk poorly about competition. Competition is good in capitalism, and we're all out here doing our thing. So, but I am a competitive individual, and if I'm not doing something, I know that my competitor is maybe doing something to knock me off the mountain. So I want to remain competitive, but I'm gonna stay in my lane. Um, what I'll tell you about what Encore does is I think we're the huge difference with us. We're not the most expensive in our market, and we're not the cheapest. We're on the higher end. The biggest differentiator that we can offer our clients is the customer service. And COVID, I tell you what, if you're hiring a contractor, the best way to evaluate a contractor is during a pandemic, because it kind of shows their true colors, right?
Sure.
So the customer response, even just a simple email, how long does that take? When does that happen? Does that happen over the weekends? We just got done with July 4th weekend. I was returning calls and messages, last night, Saturday. I mean, it doesn't take a lot, but that's the premium level of customer service that we offer our clients, and we haven't pressed play yet at their event. So the work that we put in, the planning, the experience that goes into what we're giving you as a bride, you're giving us your hard-earned money. You want to turn that into something. What is your return on that investment? And it's the experience. It's holding your hand. We realize that not many people have gone through this before, right? So they're looking to us as the experts to guide them, save them hours of Googling and wedding wire and the knot to try to find all this information when they can ask a professional, save a whole bunch of time, and get real-time local information that's reputable.
Sure. I
And
mean,
then
COVID,
we're great entertainers. So then we perform at the event.
that you guys are, and I feel like you've always been very innovative from the start, with this. Like, it's not just, a DJ service. Like, you guys, I definitely feel like what you're saying with the experience and having had worked with you too, for a brief moment. Like, when you were all about the photo booth before anybody even, and anybody else I even know had that. So it's like you're always just one step ahead, and that's great. And how do you, I mean, who do you learn from? I know you go back and forth to Vegas a lot, right? Is that for like a
Yeah.
convention for entertainment?
Yeah. So, I was grounded just to our area, and then I learned of these conventions that you go and you speak to other DJs from around the world. So I went to places like Vegas, and you get to meet and talk with different people, and you're not afraid to share trade secrets, because this one DJ from California, I'm not really concerned about taking my client at a country club over here.
Right.
So we share different things and we learn things, and that's when I really started the learning process of what it takes to be, because I was a DJ. I learned the craft of being a DJ, but I was not a business owner. And that's where many vendors fall, is they may be very good at the craft, but the fact of managing a business is a completely different animal. And you have to marry, pardon the pun, you have to marry the two together. So I was learning. I just until recently, I've started speaking. I've started consulting with other business owners from around the world. So it's been a constant evolution of what can we do next. But you always should be learning, because, and especially in music and technology, everything's always changing.
Sure. And especially now, right? So, I mean, COVID-19 has for sure made a mess out of like the event industry. So, I mean, how are you handling this situation right now? Like, obviously, like weddings have been postponed, things are being canceled. There's a lot of question marks in the air. I mean, are people freaking out on you? Or, how do you handle a client that's like, that wants their wedding?
Yeah. Well, it's very delicate. So the answer is yes to all of that. The Monday after, so I remember I was DJing in a bar for St. Patrick's Day, and that Monday was where everything all shut down. And my first goal was I went over to Shadow Lake with my team, and we just went live. We said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're going to do. My response as a business owner to my clients, and vendors are our clients as well because they refer us and we work very closely with them. So I have a wide market of people that we are trying to reach out to. I think it was important for me to, for our team to let them know that A, we're still going to be in operation. So how do we get in touch? B, what are we going to be doing in this whole thing? Now, it was very early on in the pandemic. We didn't have all these mask, stipulations or anything like hand washing, but it was very, very early on. So what are we going to be doing as a business for you? And we're not going to just be going ghost on you, unresponsive, which we saw a lot of businesses do. So just our tactical response, I opted to have one person contact, and that was my general manager, John Roach, just so there's only one chef in the kitchen. So there's no, if I'm talking to one couple and another couple on a Wednesday, another couple on Thursday, there's not all this misinformation. Well, so-and-so told me that, and just no, one point of contact. It was a tactical approach. So there's one person, and then we delineate more of a chain of command out to the rest of our team. And speaking of team, I went live with my group every single week. It was our mental health check-in. So it was, it was very info heavy in the beginning, but after that, I mean, as humans, we miss each other. If we're not, yeah. If we don't see the people we see on a daily or weekly basis, that hurts inside. And I'll tell you what, there were a lot of days where we were just like, man, miss you. So, thank God for technology like this, that we developed a way to reach out to our clients, and we started doing Zoom. We have open houses twice a month, and we started doing these open houses by Zoom. And with the help of our genius, Mickey Hamilton, on our staff, he figured out a way to do all of what you're doing in a matter of days, which was foreign to us. I mean, what you're doing, Amanda and Bo, is absolutely fantastic. It looks prime. So hats off to both of you for what you're doing, because we need this, and our clients and our vendors needed this. So as a musician, music wasn't a part of our lives anymore. And we developed these open houses where we had pre-recorded, safe, socially distant live sets from our DJs. One was recorded from basements and living rooms and our studio downtown. And we pre-recorded everything. So when we would invite our clients to the open house as scheduled, now we're performing in front of them. And Amanda, the emails that I received on the Friday morning after, because this is on a Thursday night, was like, you would have given these poor clients and vendor friends air. It was like, this is exactly what we needed. This was awesome. Thank you. It reinforces the fact why we invested with your company, or, oh my gosh, we want to invest with your company. Or, I mean, we were inviting everybody to these things. So yeah. You always have to evolve. I'm sorry that was a long answer to your question.
No, I mean, it's fine. It's a great answer. So, I mean, yeah, you were saying that, I mean, what is the positivity drawn from this whole experience? I mean, would you say it's, you feel like you basically kind of already answered that, I suppose, but that like you've opened up new ways to connect with your clientele, and you think in the future that maybe your one-on-ones you'll be conducting this way? Because it probably saves you a bit of time and your clients too, right?
Right. Well, one of the big advantages that Encore has is we have what we call the dream space. So if you're going to go try on a pair of clothes, or maybe try out a guitar or test drive a vehicle, you want to go hands-on with it to actually touch it and maneuver it and try it out, right? For entertainment, for DJs, we really can't do that. I can evaluate you as a performer, but unless I've gone to your cocktail shows, which if you haven't, you should, because they're amazing and she's very entertaining. You don't get the Amanda experience. Yeah. So we needed to develop that, and open houses were a great way to do that. From a business point of view, we have found that our sale conversions are at the highest when we are in person. So it's not a sales trick. It's just bringing people into our brick and mortar place of business with everything on display. I have uplights behind me. I'm in a studio, office at my house. Imagine talking to a DJ like this, or I mean, we can just do a couple simple things like turn some uplights on, completely transform the room. I got a photo booth over here. You can see what you get. It really transports our clients into what their wedding or event could look like. So we're certainly going to incorporate all this into our future business. All of our team meetings on Zoom. You always have to kind of keep your eyes open to see what is next, and you can capitalize on what you're doing for your business.
So let me pick your brain a little bit about life. All right. So, I mean, obviously, our current, state of events in the world. You had mentioned earlier you were a former police officer. I was kind of curious to pick your brain on some opinions on this. I have
Sure.
My brother-in-law is NYPD in New York City. I see
Yep.
what he's going through. And right now, there's a lot of people are all for defunding the police, and it's everybody's kind of against each other, right now. How does integrity in law enforcement differ from business integrity? I mean, you have integrity in both.
Yeah, that's a great question, and make no doubt about it. I miss being a police officer. It is a part of my life that I use to this day. There's so much that I use in business that I learned as a police officer. But to answer your question, the integrity as a business owner versus a police officer, I think the police officers are held to a much higher standard. And here's why. If you're doing business, if I'm a consumer and I want to hire me to do something, right? As long as I'm not going to lose my money and I'm getting what I get in return for that money, whether it's entertainment, whether it's a washer or dryer or whatever, do I really care if you pay your taxes? Or, I mean, I guess I care if you don't go out of business. I mean, I want you to be around for my wedding in 2021. But do I really care if you don't pay your taxes or, what you do outside of your time with me? I would say probably not. There's no certification classes. You don't have to have a degree or any sort of formal training to be a business. It's just you're in business, and it's up to the consumer to do their due diligence to evaluate you, to trust you enough to make that consumer buying decision. Police officer, when I'm making the correlation, and I read through these questions last night, held to a much higher standard. There are so much training and from firearms to technology to everything that goes into being a police officer. One thing I will say is that our area, Monroe County, the training that we received and we still receive, I'm hearing from my brothers and sisters in law enforcement, I mean, it's prime. It's very, very good. It's when I wanted to transfer from New York State to another state, this was years ago. When other states heard that I was trained in New York, that was like upper echelon. So I think police officers are held to a much higher standard with regards to integrity. But unilaterally, it's all about trust. I mentioned when I was talking about the business owner, as long as you give me what I'm giving you for my money, I trust you're going to do that for me. And for a police officer, I don't care who responds as a cop, as long I trust that you will solve my problem or protect me or whatever. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, trust is definitely at the root of integrity, right? And for trusting, I mean, I know this as a woman in business, like to me, like I want my clients or my audience to trust that I'm going to deliver my best, right? And we want that no matter what business you're in. I think anybody that is going to hire us will expect that, right? And the same thing goes on the other end of it too. Like I want to trust in that the venues are hiring me are going to pay me at the end of the night, that we have this like beautiful, like, flourishing relationship in the end of it. With police officers right now, so much of that trust is lost. And I mean, how do you think we could regain that? I mean, integrity is part of training. Like I mean, I never trained to be a police officer, but I read that was part of the interviewing process. Is that right?
That's true. So the training that I went through, it was long and arduous. First, there was a written exam. So you go in, you just take a test. It's a civil service test. Then, if you pass that, and you have to pass with a certain level, for instance, I was part time for 10 years. It took me getting a 95 to get hired, and that was by a stretch. So you have to score well. Next, once you pass the test, you have to go to what's called a physical agility. You have to run, do push-ups. There was a stretch, and do sit-ups. Once you pass all that, then you go to a written and an oral psychological exam. So you're going into a psychologist's office. Literally, it was all day for a written psych exam, and they ask you thousands and thousands of questions. I'm not exaggerating. It's all questions that are intended to evaluate your psyche, and they're asked in. The reason why there's so many is because they're asked in multiple different variations. So if I said, one question was A, and it'll ask you 20 questions later, same meaning but different answer, but it's the same meaning. If there's a differentiation between those answers, it's a red flag. So after that day, your brain is mush, and then if you pass, you have to go to an oral psychological exam, meaning you have to have a conversation with a psychologist or a shrink, and they're asking you questions that are just, whatever they do. But it was an hour of talking to a psychologist. I had to do this 4 times only because I was hired by, 3 times in 3 different departments, and I passed all of them. Some departments have a lie detector or a polygraph, and I remember taking one of those, which I passed. But you're strapped up, and this whole biologic thing going on with your blood pressure and pulse rate and all that stuff. And then if you're passing all of that, then you go to an interview with the command staff. It would be like the equivalent of a chief executive officer or a general manager of a company, of the department that wants to hire you. Oh, and by the way, while you're doing all this stuff, you fill out a packet that's about that thick. And the first or second, once you pass your exam, if they want to continue with the physical agility, they'll give you a background packet. It's at everything, all of your finances, your neighbors, where you live. So then you get this background investigator who starts pretty much digging up your past. And that's really where things go. That's where things can go south for somebody, or validate that this person has or appears to have good integrity, moral character, a good moral compass. Can they make good reasonings, stress, any alcohol, any problems with their past? All that comes out in the background. Then you're coming up to get that appointment, or you get denied.
So interesting. It just breaks my heart. I mean, like all around the whole situation, like I had to stop turning on the news. I have to literally block people's feeds on Facebook because I just, every time, and I said this to you, like you and I were talking before going live, like we've known each other a long time. And, I said to you, like my whole driving force with this show was to project some positivity to the public platform because it's because of what I'm seeing. Like sure, I could pick up my guitar, I could sing you a song, and live stream that all day, every day, but I felt like really compelled to do something more because I think everybody needs it right now. Like mentally, it's draining, it's heartbreaking, to see all this divisiveness in our country and even in the world. This translates to the rest of the world as well, and I don't know. All I could think of is, my brother-in-law. He's probably one of the most honest, like, sweetest people I know, and to know like he's out there in the protest, getting bikes thrown at him, like whatever. There's not all police officers are bad, and whatever happened to that American dream of, or like, where police officers and firemen, like all these people that put their lives on the line, they're like they're our heroes. What happened to that? Like now it's like everybody's our enemy, and I hate raising my son in this world like that. Like I wish he had like those figures to aspire to be. And you said yourself, like I always wanted to be a cop. Like what was it that made you want to be a cop at one point in your life, like, or as a kid? What made you
It was the closest thing I can think of being a superhero.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound cheesy, but I grew up, I watched like shows like Chips and Cops and stuff. But I loved Batman. I loved he was a crime fighter. I love Superman, and I genuinely, I know you may hear this a lot public. I genuinely wanted to help people, and I just loved the whole idea of a police officer. And my goal as a cop is I always wanted to leave people better than I found them. That was just my MO. And I was always known as Cranston. So I worked for villages that have colleges in there. I've had the population of older residents and younger college students. I've worked for lower income rental villages. I've worked for entire counties. So I've had a large different cross section of people that I've served. One of the highlights of my career was during Daryl Pearson from RPD during his funeral. RPD had off, so they were allowed to attend the funeral, but all the departments from the surrounding areas and counties covered the city of Rochester, so all of his RPD brothers and sisters could attend the funeral and pay their respects. I've policed in the city before. When I worked for the county, different county parks were within city limits, and I didn't care who called 911 or who needed my help. I don't see color, and I always loved helping people. It was just that's what I really miss about the profession. I really wanted to help people and to do the right thing. And it pains me to see the public see police officers in that light, because like you said, not all police officers are bad. I know some shady business people, you know what I mean? But it doesn't make all business owners bad. But it's tough to see the forest through the trees with that. And I pray for everyone who's having issues with this right now.
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, there's good and bad in all races. There's good and bad in, people of business, in any field, really. You could find corrupt people, and I don't know. It just really, like I said, it worries me for a future, because obviously, like, police officers have been police officers for time, like, the world needs policing. We can't just, let people run rapid and, like, be maniacs, all the time. Like, we need some structure, but it's like, how do we get back to being what it was, like, or maybe it never was that way,
Yeah.
I mean, but like, how do we trust again, like, how do we look to these people as being our heroes again, and trust in the fact that they really are out to protect us, it's horrible. What do you think that I mean, this is kind of a tough question, but do you think being in the face of danger, and maybe not even danger, that's not the right word. Do you think that maybe over time it's easy for a police officer to become jaded by seeing the same scenarios over and over again, or being put in situations where people are aggressive, or, like, you guys have to protect your lives too, right? But
Sure.
I don't know. Do you think that has a lot to do with, like, our current circumstances, or the way people react?
Absolutely. And being a police officer, and I'll say this, because one of your points was, how do we evolve? And you mentioned early on in the broadcast about the evolution of business. I am all support of people voicing their opinion, their stance as citizens. Things change over time. In 1998, when I started my business, I didn't think Zoom would be a thing. Whoever would have thought we'd be doing business like this? But making that correlation, things do change over time, and things do need to be changed. And our government should go along with that. There are certain parts of our process, the way we live as Americans, in my opinion, that I don't think should be changed. For instance, I recognize I'm for people protesting peacefully. I just don't know where the destruction comes from because everyone's ticked off. So
Yeah.
I think that's it's just unreasonable. There's no call for that, and it puts people's lives in danger. To your question about being hardened, is yeah, absolutely. I mean, imagine a profession, and I'll speak to this because while I may not be working as a police officer right now responding to calls, I did work in the era of when I pull up to a call, cell phones came out and they started recording and body cameras. So when you go to work and you are constantly questioned, constantly filmed, every single move you make is criticized, you get gun shy. Newsflash, these police officers are humans. They have feelings. While responding to 12 domestic calls on a Sunday might get monotonous or one after another, we have to treat each call differently. But we do get hardened to the fact of, people calling us names or whatever. So that's that. But as far as going to your job every single day, not knowing if you're going to make it home, get spit on, get stuff thrown at you. If you do something wrong, it's filmed. Now that video can go on YouTube, can go to your boss. And by the way, the fear of your administration, your supervisor not backing you, knowing that if you might get fired, get brought up on charges. I mean, it plays a role on your mental health. And you just kind of think of like, why am I missing all these holidays, these times with my family, for what? I mean, one of the reasons I got out of law enforcement was my mom was diagnosed with stage 3 esophageal cancer, and my aunt had just died from MS. I'm at her funeral looking at a slideshow that you frequently see at a funeral, and I'm in like no pictures because all these family events, I'm either DJing or I'm working as a police officer. I'm like, you know what? It's nice to have a retirement or a pension, but if I'm not alive to enjoy that money and my hard work, what's the purpose? So I chose being happy over, working hard and making really great, secure money.
Sure. And that's so important too. And I'm happy that you realize that for yourself, because some people just, they think, oh, because I'm in this profession now, like I have to, stick with it for the long run. And, like a lot of people, a lot of the reason why I became a musician was not to be rich, because that certainly isn't happening, but like, to really secure my happiness, like I wanted to do something that was, going to fulfill me in every way, and that to me is more than a great paycheck or anything else. It's what connects you to people. And I'm sure you feel that way with Encore. You're connected to so many people and you're loved, and, you love what you do and you have a love for your art. And that I could definitely see the contrast between both.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I've always been a people person. I love communicating and working with people. It's in a different platform now. So I may not be going out to get the bad guy or a girl, or my specialty was DWI enforcement. So tying in my medical background to my love of trying to formulate and take intoxicated drivers off the street, that was my thing. And I got really good at that. I got a lot of great training for that. But, just serving people and serving my customers and my clients and my vendors and my vendor friends and having an employee team that trust me, that depend on me for an income. That is where I'm at right now. And it's giving people what they're hiring us to do, and providing a great place to work, a safe place to work for our employees is where we're at right now. And make no doubt about it, before we end this here, what happened, what happened was wrong in Minneapolis. And it makes good cops even more upset when you see bad things like that happen. That was unequivocally, absolutely, horribly wrong. That should not have happened. But like you said, it's not all business owners are bad, not all police officers are bad. And my recommendation would be just, for the government, just to be complete transparent as far as like with police officers, police departments, it's all about community policing. Every single point of contact you have with the couple or the public, just has to be, just makes you positive, just makes you transparent, because that's all we as citizens are looking for. It's just, give it to me straight.
Yeah. All right, Rich, the most important question of this interview is, when are you going to remix one of my songs? All right. I'm putting you on a spot now. I want you to remix. I am waiting and waiting and waiting. I've been waiting patiently for like 10 years. Can you please remix one of my songs?
I feel horrible. Yes. So I would be happy to do that for you. I will. Yes. Yes. Send me that. I will do it.
All right. No, but more seriously. More seriously, where can our audience be connected to Encore and to receive your amazing business in the future?
Thank you very much. This has been fantastic. You keep doing you. From the public outside looking in, you guys are phenomenal. I can't wait to have a drink and hear you perform live. Should our paths cross with your audience, I would love nothing more than to meet and talk to them. So we're on the gram. Me personally, it's at Rich Cranston. The business gram is at Encore Events. For Facebook, it's Encore Events ROC, and my personal Facebook, Rich Cranston. But there's also another website, dobetterweddings.com is our website for consulting, dobetterweddings.com. We do consulting for all different walks of life, whether you are a carpenter or you're a DJ or you're a photographer, it doesn't matter, small business. We got some great feedback for you. So dobetterweddings.com for consulting.
Rich, thank you so much for your time. I mean, you are a superhero to me. Like I just see you soaring constantly and always, thinking of ways to be better. And I respect that so much about you. I think you're a tremendous businessman. So thank you for your time. And I really hope to see you again in life soon, very soon.
Absolutely.
So before we end our show, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors. We've been very fortunate to pick up some incredible sponsors this season. So to start off, if you're in need of accepting credit card payments, electronic merchant systems, my boys, the charge card guys, make sure you check them out. Miss Rebecca Dodge, which I know Rich knows, RebeccaDodge.com for Untamed Events, for your event planning. Juice Senior Life, thank you for your support. We love you, and I hope to see you soon. If you guys need to order your pizza this week for dinner or for your next party, Salvatore's and the Sawmill at Blades, located on University Ave, formerly was Pomodoro's. They have a tremendous menu, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, outdoor seating, and a bar. So make sure you go visit them and check out their menu online at bladesrock.com. Before we close out, today's theme was integrity. Here's my thoughts on integrity. If it matters. To live with integrity, we must begin to figure out what matters most to us and to be able to understand and process our emotions in order to help those around us do exactly the same. Living with integrity is about intentionally choosing the constraints which we're going to live by, choosing courage over comfort, choosing to face reality and to embrace our problems, choosing to maintain trust within our relationships, whether it be business or personally, choosing the path that helps us to emotionally grow. And most importantly, it's choosing to practice what we preach. In order to lead and to grow, choose to walk your walk by prioritizing your values and by following up your talk with action. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We got a brand new show this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much again to Rich Cranston at Encore Events. And we hope to see you back here soon. You guys have a great Monday.